Hello Chromium, and welcome to this video tutorial on setting up a custom bridge for your ERC-20 assets. This time we're working from our docs at docs.chromia.com, so head over there and select the bridge. First, there's an overview, but also a more detailed section on setting up a custom bridge. That's what I'll walk you through today. A full practical setup with all the necessary steps to get everything running end to end. We'll be moving quickly in this video, but I encourage you to pause and dive into the code to really understand what it's doing. But for now, let's follow the guide and deploy our own ERC-20 token. Start by cloning the repo. I'm using VS Code here, but feel free to use whatever editor you're comfortable with. I already have the full environment set up, maybe you do too. If not, just head over to the Getting Started section in the docs to install everything you need. But let's continue with the steps in the guide and install the dependencies. Once that's done, we'll set up the necessary .env file. And here we can verify that we actually get the file. So far, so good. Next, we'll set up a mnemonic. You can also use a private key if you prefer, but for this tutorial, I'm generating a fresh mnemonic to create a burner account. 12 words is what we need. Let's copy them so we can put them in our .env file. Paste an uncomment, and let's comment the private key instead. These API keys aren't strictly necessary. I'm not sure if they're used to scan for gas prices or something like that, but for this tutorial I'll go ahead and skip them. But let's derive the private key so we can import this burner account into MetaMask. First we'll get the key, then we'll copy it, and finally import this account into MetaMask. I'll go ahead and call this something useful. Let's call this Bridge Burner Account. Now that we have this burner account set up, we can go ahead and compile this Solidity contract. Great, now let's deploy the token. And we're deploying to BSC testnet. But wait, we're on a fresh burner account. It's only on Chromia you don't pay gas. We're going to need some tokens. You can get some here from the faucet, but you are required to have a little bit of real asset in order to get the test assets. I'm transferring from another account where I already have some. But since we're not on Chromia just yet, you will need some tokens for gas in order to proceed. So you need to find a solution that gets you some. All right, now that we are fully armed with testnet tokens, let's try one more time. And just as we expected, this time it worked. I'm just going to go ahead and save this value in the .env file just so I have it for future reference. We already saved the address as it says, so let's continue to the next section. We already cloned this repo, so let's continue with setting the validator address, in our case for the BSC testnet. Next up is deploying the validator contract. But we should note that this section should only be used if you want to deploy your own validator contract. Now, we're using the existing one we just supplied the address to, so we'll go ahead and skip this step, which brings us to deploying the token bridge contract on the EVM side. Again, I'm going to save the address of the bridge in the .env file just for future reference. There seems to be some formatting issue here, but we did save the bridge address we just got, and now we're going to register our very own token with that bridge we just deployed. Now we need those addresses we just saved. First we'll get the bridge address and insert it. Then we'll get the token address and insert that too. Now that we're done with the EVM side of the bridge, let's continue to the Chromia side. Now there's a new repo with the rel code. Let's go ahead and grab that. Okay, now enter the rel folder. And I'll start a dedicated VS Code here, so we have one for the EVM side and one for the Chromia side. Then we're going to install dependencies like the ft4 library. Alright, dependencies are installed. Now we're going to make sure that the GTX modules are included in the Chromia YML file. We see the GTX module is included here for the event receiver. And scrolling a bit, we see it's also included here for the bridge demo. Before deploying the event receiver chain, we need to ensure that it's set up correctly. Now the set token bridge contract address and block height looks out of place because the first thing we need to ensure is that the event receiver has a unique name. You can put in anything you like, as long as you ensure it makes the name unique. I think this should do. Next, we'll need to copy in the EVM bridge address that we saved earlier. We saved it in the .env file in the other project. Let's grab it and place it in the Chromia YML file. And finally, we need to set a block height to start from. We'll get that from the BSC testnet explorer. Copy the block height and set it in Chromia YML. Then we'll set the container ID, and to do that, we obviously need a container first. Let's follow the docs. First, we'll get some tokens to pay for the container. So it looks like I'm already connected with MetaMask, but I'll make sure I'm using the burner account that I created for this purpose. And then request some tokens. We don't have an account, so let's verify we're humans and create one. Great. Now we have an account with a balance of 1,000 tokens. Let's now continue and lease a container. We do this from the staking page. Again, I'm connected, but making sure it's with the right account. And now we can go ahead and lease. We need to provide a public key for who controls the container. Let's go ahead and generate it right away. I'm going to rename the key so I know it belongs to this project. Let's call it bridge key. Perfect. We now have our public key for leasing the container. We don't need any special extensions here. We can just go ahead and lease. All right, we have a container. Grab the ID and let's continue. Now that we have the container ID, we can go ahead and supply it to the Chromia YML. And we'll scroll down to deployments and place the container ID. Now we're ready to deploy the event receiver. Just put in the unique name we gave it earlier. Whoops, this isn't completely clear in the docs, but we generated a key for the container earlier that we need to supply. Yes, this time it worked. Let's go ahead and immediately put this under deployments in Chromia YML. That was the event receiver. Let's continue to configure the bridge demo. Just like before, we need a unique name for it. I think this will do. Then we need the event receiver brid from the deployment of it. Let's grab it from the terminal. And place it in the config file. Then our EVM token address, and put it in the config. An important detail, because we're configuring the Chromia side now, we don't need the 0x prefix for the addresses. It's used on the EVM side to indicate a hex value, but Chromia expects the address as plain hex without this prefix, so make sure to remove the 0x. And finally, we need the EVM bridge contract. And same thing here about removing the 0x prefix. And now we're ready to deploy the bridge demo on Chromia. Just insert that unique name we gave it earlier. And remember the key as well. Good, we remembered the key, so we were immediately successful. Let's put this under deployments in Chromia YML right away. And finally, we just need to initialize that bridge demo, then we've fully set up the Chromia side. Insert the bridge that we just received and initialize. Now that we've finished the Chromia side, we can continue to the next section and finish the EVM side of things. We already have the EVM repo, and we are in the right folder. Let's go ahead and set up the bridge chain read on the EVM bridge contract. This is the right project. Let's use the right terminal. The bridge on the Chromia side, let's go and fetch it. Let's insert the bridge, this time with the 0x prefix because we're communicating with the EVM contract. And let's put in the EVM bridge address too. Congratulations, this is a milestone. The bridge is set up on both EVM and Chromia, and now we're ready to test that it really works. Now let's set up a frontend. The repo is still Chromia Bridge Demo, but we'll need to navigate to the Bridge Frontend folder. And there we'll create a .env file. Let's first navigate to the Bridge Frontend folder and start it in a new editor. And then we can create the .env file. There it is. We need to fill in the addresses of each side of the bridge and our token address. Let's grab them and fill them in. Okay, on to installing dependencies. Great, now we can try the frontend. Open in the browser. And again, make sure we're connected with the right MetaMask account. Now we can click Setup. Confirm. 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 Let's see the next step. Importing the token into MetaMask. Let's grab the address and let's do it. If we followed the instructions, we should have 1 million Alice token. We can now verify that that's correct. We already went ahead and did the setup, so let's approve token spending and test the bridge. After the approval is confirmed, we can try and actually bridge the tokens. For verification, we can look up our unique bridge name in the Chromia Explorer and see that the bridge actually holds the tokens. Visit explorer.chromia.com and change to testnet. Pick your cluster and find your unique name among the dapps. Check the assets, and yes, the bridge now holds our 3000 Alice. Next, let's set up these environment variables so we can run queries. Also the event receiver. And finally, the bridge demo. Now we can also verify by this query. And once again, we can see that the bridge received 3000 tokens. You can also see your asset ID, and your Chromia account is returned as the recipient ID. Alright, let's try and bridge some tokens back. As we're about to sign, you'll notice that our Chromia account is part of the message we're signing. Now that we're bridging 1500 back, let's verify that our Chromia account doesn't contain 3000 anymore. And yes, this does indeed look just right, as we have 1500 left in our Chromia account. Let's verify that we get them in MetaMask once we withdraw them from the bridge. And we did indeed receive the 1500 back, and everything is working as expected. This is the end of the tutorial. Well done for making it through, and as always, take your time. Dive into the code in the repos, experiment with it, really get to understand how it all works. And well done for making it this far. I'm curious what you will build with it, and I'll see you in the next video.